Hi, my name is Matt Stansberry, Program Director for the Uptime Institute Symposium 2012, and I'm here today with Steve O'Keefe from Meritalk, and we're going to talk a little bit today about the panel that he'll be leading at Symposium in May on the Federal Data Center Consolidation Initiative. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Matt.
Can you tell us a little bit about who you are, who Meritalk is?
Yes, Meritalk is a public-private partnership focused on improving government IT efficiency. And so it's an online community. We have events. We build applications. We put out research papers, that type of thing. The community is 85,000 members, including government and industry.
Great. And it seems like the organization has really rallied around this Federal Data Center Consolidation Initiative. That seems to be a big kind of focus point for the organization. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. So within Meritalk, we have a series of communities of practice, or exchanges as we call them. And the Data Center Exchange is one of the prominent exchanges where we bring together the leaders from each of the agencies, the operators who are responsible for federal data centers.
Great. And can you talk to me about what the Federal Data Center Consolidation Initiative is?
Simply, the Federal Data Center Consolidation Initiative is about reducing the number of federal data centers. So the Office of Management and Budget has come out with a census of federal data centers, and the numbers moved around some. But right now I think it's about 2,094 is the number of federal data centers across the government, federal government. And the goal is to have less federal data centers. So the numbers have moved around some. Under Vivek Kundra, the goal was to close 800 federal data centers. And now, under the new federal CIO, Stephen Van Roykel, the goal is to close 962 federal data centers by the end of 2015.
So does it seem to be working? What are your members saying about the initiative?
Some of the goals are very aggressive. So if you look at the analytical perspective of last year's budget, it broke out the number of data centers by agency, and then it also broke out where they need to go in terms of losing weight, if you will, if you think about this in terms of a data center diet for Uncle Sam. And so if you look at agencies like VA, for example, which has the most aggressive percentage reduction goals, it's supposed to go from 87 data centers to just 4. So these goals are very aggressive. In terms of, is it working? Yes, I think the sheer fact that we're focusing on federal data centers and we're trying to understand what quantity of them we have is a good thing. But I think we also need to be a little more practical sometimes about what it takes to close a data center, and recognize that in some circumstances the operators are sort of stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea in terms of the fact they have customers who have applications running in their data centers, many of which are running on legacy environments, and the ability to end-of-life those applications is not really that simple. So I think that data center consolidation is a good thing. FDCCI is a good thing. Obviously, we have a significant budget crunch going on in Washington, but we need to be practical, and we need to try and support operators in their initiatives to achieve these goals. And we need to make sure that the goals are attainable within the time frames.
So what do you think that the broader IT community can learn from this big project?
Well, I think that if you look at the results of the Federal Data Center Consolidation Initiative so far, OMB recently posted in October reports from the agencies on how much money they've saved. And we're purportedly looking at closing 373 data centers by the end of 2012, which is about 20% of 2,000. So the savings should be pretty significant. And what we see is the savings aren't that significant. So far, based on the reports filed by the agencies, and many of the agencies, including DoD and Department of Homeland Security, did not submit information on their progress, we've saved about $14 million. So $14 million may sound like a lot of money, but the federal government spends more than $80 billion each year on IT, and based on how much of that budget is being allocated to data centers, you could argue it's between 10% and 50% of the budget. Well, if you say it's 50%, we should be looking at saving a lot more than $14 billion. So, looking at the savings, we've so far, based on this significant initiative, we've saved 0.183% of the federal IT budget through data center consolidation. And as we come out of a super committee discussion where we've not been able to cut anything in Washington, I think that's the challenge here in data center consolidation for the federal government is let's put some realistic goals on the table, and let's measure to show some significant metrics in terms of cost savings.
Well, Steve, thanks for being on today, and we look forward to seeing you in May presenting with a panel of federal end users talking about this initiative and other top-of-mind topics. So I really appreciate you coming on board.
Thank you, Matt.